I'm so overflowing with love right now. I don't know if I can do this. This Trecena has been so different. Let me go look that up real quick. Oh my God, little wonder. Today is 3 Jaguar, or Jaguar. I was, well, that's probably my sun sign. In the Mayan cosmology, we are all, there's not a real sureness about it if you're born like I was at 4:30 in the morning. Um, some of the astrologers will say, well, the day doesn't start for the native peoples very sensibly until the sunrise. And some will go by, well, it's after midnight, so, you know. So the Jaguar day is if we say, well, the sun hasn't risen yet. But if we look at it the other way, then it's the eagle. Anyway, I'll try to talk on something that won't make me melt all over the place, maybe. Someone wanted to know, I don't think it's going to work, more about what is a Trecena. In a way, a Trecena is like a week, only it's a 13-day week for the Maya. It's a longer cycle, and yet it's a short enough cycle that it can be fairly easily worked with. It's not something like one of these 5,126 year cycles, like, you know, in one lifetime, you know, you're not going to see much change in that. With a Trecena, you see something that's big enough and yet small enough that you can really work with and begin to gain some mastery. You can see the energies as they pass. 13 and 20 are the big numbers in the Mayan calendar. There are 13 numbers, days 1 through 13. Whenever a day 1 falls, that's the beginning of the week or the Trecena. And it's considered that the whole cycle that you'll go through there, all of those 13 days, are colored and underpinned by whatever sun sign falls on that first day. And so, although as the days go by, you look at the energy of each day, you also have the Trecena underlying. I'm just out of it. Okay. Maybe if I talk about this, it'll help. You guys know somewhat of how I feel about the sun. Okay? It's not anything that can be explained logically. That's not possible. There really isn't any logic to it. There isn't any understanding of it. It's not like I have a conceptual relationship where I think it's a being and I'm in love with this being, or it has a personality or anything like that. I don't know is the biggest thing I can say about it. There are beings that live in other dimensions on planets, and from what I've heard, there's even an evolution of beings that inhabit the sun. Now, we don't know on what dimension or what kind of life or how that works, but do we really need to? It's not personal, it's not impersonal, I don't know. I just know the depth and the real beauty of it. And it's been over a long period of time. So to me, it's proved itself to me that it's real, it's beautiful, it's of light. And for this lady, that's enough. That's just enough. Okay, so um, I have something on my desktop here that I'm looking at that just blows me away. Uh, there's a spaceweather.com is interesting to watch, and it just gives some basic statistics. It doesn't do much by way of interpretation, but in the upper left corner, it's got the solar wind. And there are two numbers that are used to calculate it, one relative to the density, one relative to the speed, I think. I don't know. When you combine them, you can see the intensity and the thickness, if you will, the viscosity. Sometimes the solar wind is more like a plasma. I guess it is a plasma. I don't know. I'm not scientific enough for this, okay? I love the theoretics of science and the underpinnings. I'm not so good with the nuts and bolts of it. But anyway, I like to follow that. Well, yesterday, was it only yesterday? They put up an amazing picture. Okay, it's just an amazing picture. It's a picture of a sunspot, only it's like nothing you ever saw before. Now, if you go out to spaceweather.com right now, you'll see it. It's from the new solar telescope at Big Bear. There's a solar observatory there in California. And this is the largest solar telescope in the world. We have a photo here of a sunspot that is at phenomenal resolution. I don't think it's ever been seen before like this. It's stunning. Absolutely overwhelming. To me anyway, this picture, this image. And so it hit me so hard. I mean, it's beautiful. It's lovely. It hit me so hard when I saw it, I had to share it with my friend, Lady X, and I said, take a look at this. What do you think? And it had a big effect on her too. So I want everyone to go out and have a look at that image. It takes me into the sun. It's a closeness. I thought I was close before, you know. This is different. And it's so amazing. The sun is so not this big fireball up there. I mean, that is such a distortion of what the sun is. And in this you see it. It's almost like organic growth, little tendrils that form, I think they call it the penumbra, I don't know. It's kind of a dark region around the blackness of the sunspot. And then on the surface of the sun, it looks like crystal, gold, and like an image of your skin magnified as far as all the cracks and things in it. And it's just, I mean, were you aware that above the sun's surface, and I forget the numbers, not a scientific mind anymore, if it ever was, above the sun's surface, I believe there's temperatures in the millions of degrees, and it's cooler on the surface of the sun? We've been so lied to about the sun, my friends. It is just, and hopefully everyone's aware, but let me refresh you. The heat that we feel here, people think, well, the closer, you know, young kids anyway would think, well, the closer you get to the sun, you're going to burn up, like the Icarus thing, right? And he's up there with wax and feathers, and he gets too close to the sun, and it all melts, and he comes down. Well, as you get closer to the sun, it gets freezing cold. So it's not like that. The energy of the sun, as it hits the Earth atmosphere, excites and accelerates the energy of the Earth's atmosphere. And so they speed up, and that's what gives us our heat. But anyway, it's phenomenal. It's beautiful. And after I saw it yesterday, and like even now, I mean, I'm almost a little bit worthless. It was like I was drunk. And, okay, so I see with heart vision. But, folks, we're all a part of the sun. Your body is like a universe itself. I mean, look at the concept of you've got a cell. A cell is like a solar system. It's got the atoms in it, or actually the atom. I mean, you could take it to whatever level of magnification you want. Fractally, you can go all the way up and down and all around. But your body's like a universe. And it's sentient life that's come together in each of those atoms. That's a being. And it's alive. And it has consciousness. And it has an awareness. It doesn't have your awareness or mine. It doesn't have an awareness like that, but it has an awareness, and it has its own will. And all of this has gotten together in a cooperative community to house you, to house an element of your consciousness that you've decided to put here. So the cells in your body are individual beings, but they're a part of you. Well, everything's a part of Gaia too. And we can easily be seen as cells in the body of Gaia, of the earth. I mean, I'm not looking at some old goddess worship thing when I say Gaia. It's just an affectionate name for earth, for Terra, for whatever. There's no religion here. There's none of that. Okay? But we could be looked at. I mean, there's cells in your body that flow and that move and that aren't tied down like the blood. Okay, it courses through the veins. There's hormones. There's all kinds of things. There's water. You're a being of water. Water flows. All right. So just because we move around doesn't mean that we can't be cells in the body of Gaia. These bodies are composed of what the earth is composed of, as they say, dust to dust. Okay. Well, guess what? You know where I'm going, don't you? Gaia is a cell or an organ in the body of the sun. The solar system could be called the body of Ra, or Sol, or the sun. I don't know. You know, they're just names. The being that's bright out there. Okay? It's all one. We're literally linked up way closer than we can imagine. Not just with each other, but we're threads in the being of life. And as long as we restrict and limit ourselves to a body consciousness or a mind consciousness or something like that, we don't get to participate in the greater life that I am, that you are, that everything is. And so maybe through this amazing image of this sunspot, you too will make heart contact with whatever the sun is, okay? I mean, if I can't say what I am, then how is that any different for any other part of life? What we see, it comes and it goes. It's not real. It's more like a thumbprint of the being, the higher being that we are. But well, you see. I'm kind of speechless. Okay. Do I really have anything else to say? Maybe not. Except to share love with you guys. Maybe that's enough. I'll just share this photo. Have a good one. See you later. Start for the native peoples very sensibly until the sunrise. And some will go by, well, it's after midnight, so, you know, So the Jaguar day is if we say, well, the sun hasn't risen yet. But if we look at it the other way, then it's the eagle. Anyway, I was, well, that's probably my sun sign. In the Mayan cosmology, we are all, there's not a real sureness about it if you're born like I was at 4:30 in the morning. Some of the astrologers will say, well, the day doesn't, the Maya, it's a longer cycle, and yet it's a short enough cycle that it can be fairly easily worked with. It's not something like one of these 5,126 year cycles, like, you know, in one lifetime, you know, that's, you're not going to see much change in that. I'm so overflowing with love right now, I don't know if I can do this. This Trecena has been so different. Let me go look that up real quick. Oh my God, little wonder. Today is 3 Jaguar, or Jaguar. I'll try to talk on something that won't make me melt all over the place, maybe. Someone wanted to know, I don't think it's going to work, more about what is a Trecena. In a way, a Trecena is like a week, only it's a 13-day week.